Ms. Toya Singh, it is a Sunday morning and you're watching the breaking news show, which means that over the next hour, we're going to walk you through all of the country's top stories right now. Our first story, though, is an international one. The United States has just a few hours ago shot down a giant Chinese balloon that it says has been spying on key military sites across America. US President Joe Biden had been under pressure to shoot the balloon down since defense officials first announced that they were tracking it back on Tuesday. An F-22 jet fighter engaged the high-altitude balloon with one missile. China's foreign ministry later expressed strong dissatisfaction and protest against the US's use of force to, in their words, attack a civilian unmanned aircraft. Now, the Chinese authorities have denied it is a spying aircraft, as you can see. Instead, they're saying it was a weather ship that was blown astray. Meanwhile, importantly, a second Chinese spy balloon was reportedly flying over Latin America. We're going to bring you more details about this entire story. First, take a look at how United States President Joe Biden responded. Take a look.
Briefed on the balloon. I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit.
Well, we came here to the parking lot and then saw the balloon up ahead, up high, and then we probably watched it, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes, and then started seeing some jet trails coming from the west, and you could see the explosion. Didn't hear anything, but saw the explosion of the balloon, and it seemed like it started falling apart and starting to come down.
Gosh, it was almost like a moving cloud coming down. And then the smoke was gone and it just started slowly going down but further out towards the ocean. Yeah. But it was a great experience.
I think it's terrible that they let it get this far to start with. And what I've heard, there's more and more of them. So how many did the Chinese actually put out?
All right, my colleague Siddhant is with us to bring us more details on all of these developments. Siddhant, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We've been tracking these developments every single day. And I just want to understand from you, I know that American intelligence sources have said that China has developed a whole fleet of such balloons that conduct surveillance. They've also said that similar incidents have actually happened during the Trump administration and even once previously during the Biden administration. Can you tell us more?
Well, look, the tensions between United States and China were increasing. First, it was because of the trade war when Trump was the president. Later, because of the COVID situation. Then the aggression that China has shown at the time of Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. But the tensions were de-escalated when President Biden and Chinese Premier Xi Jinping met on the sidelines of G20 summit. Now, for the follow-up meeting only, Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, was expected to visit Beijing to meet his counterpart. But week before that, the Chinese balloon was spotted hovering over United States, continental America. And this again became perhaps the reason that Antony Blinken had to cancel his visit, and he had called this balloon, sending a balloon to spy over US, is nothing but an irresponsible act by China. Now, the relations were improving after G20 summit, and Mr. Blinken was going for a follow-up meeting. Now they have again come to square one. This high-flying balloon has brought the US-China ties to the new low. And in fact, we have got this confirmation that a few hours back, this balloon was shot down by Northern Command. The fighter jets were assigned to the Northern Command, and this entire exercise happened over South Carolina. And in fact, the debris had fallen deep into the shallow waters in South Carolina. And in fact, Navy Coast Guard teams have been deployed to collect the debris. So this balloon entered U.S. Territorial airspace on 28th of January. For 2 days, it hovered over United States. Then it entered in Canada. Then on 31st January, it again returned to United States. And Pentagon was looking out for a right opportunity, because on first day when President Biden was briefed, he was told that right now it is not safe to bring down the balloon because debris could
Right.
create damage on ground. So for that purpose, the shooting down of balloon was delayed. But a few hours back, when balloon entered airspace over territorial waters, it was shot down. And in fact, American television channels and it's all over the social media of how Chinese balloon have been shot down by US Northern Command. So
Right.
again, a strong statement has been given by United States that look, what China has done is nothing less than violating the airspace of a sovereign country. China has to say that this was not a spying tool. This was not a spying balloon. It accidentally entered in U.S. airspace. China also had to say that this balloon was flying to get more information about the atmosphere. This is what China has to say. Also,
Right.
China is saying that, in fact, the state media of China is saying China is yet to react on the shooting down of balloon. But state media in China is saying that US could have behaved in much matured and poised manner. The way they have shot it down is not right. So this is what China has to say. But again, the larger question is United States, which claims to protect the world, is unable to protect its own airspace. And
Siddhant?
that was a perception, in fact, which is being built against the United States. And even Chinese state media was only building this perception. So, in fact, they even made a mockery of United States air defense system. Now, when America has shot it down, China is again rattled and saying that America should have behaved. The state media in China is saying that
I want to
America should have
understand
behaved
from
in a
you.
much
You
poised,
were talking
calmer
for a second right
manner.
now about how China has responded, and we do have a statement from the Foreign Ministry. They've said that China will resolutely defend the legitimate rights and interests of the enterprises involved. They've also said that China retains the right to respond further. What does that mean? What could that potentially... All right, just stay with us for a second, please, Siddhant. We have General A.K. Sivaj. He's with us on the phone right now. He is a defense expert. Sir, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. So I want to understand from you, and this was actually a question I was just directing towards my colleague, but I'd love to take this over to you. The Foreign Ministry has put out a statement, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has put out a statement, saying after the balloon was shot down that they retain the right to respond further. So we've already seen a diplomatic crisis play out over the last few days between these two countries. When they say retain the right to respond further, sir, do you expect any kind of directed objective action? How do you see the statement from China?
Oh, yeah, there is no denying the fact that the situation is critical. In the sense, first of all, there was no doubt this balloon was possibly a spy balloon which has been shot by the U.S. And they have been claiming that possibly it was a spy balloon, and the Chinese were quiet for a long time, but later they admitted that it has lost the route and this is only for monitoring the climate. But having said so, that the US has taken action and they have shot down. Now the Chinese are telling they will take appropriate action. Possibly this situation can aggravate. They may do something where they try to become slightly offensive. But the time will tell, but possibly this is high. But one must remember that in this case, the Chinese are at wrong. It is in case if a balloon has lost its route, they should have informed. They remained quiet for long until it was observed in the space of the US, and then they have no other choice but to take action of shooting down the balloon.
Okay.
And there was a chance that this balloon may consist some material which is harmful. But all said and done, having done this, the Chinese are responding that they will take an appropriate action. The
Right.
time will only tell what will be this appropriate action. I think this can be a tripping point for the relation to go from here down southward. As it is Antony Blinken was to go, as Secretary of State to visit the China,
Right.
and he has postponed his visit. So I suppose this will show the relationship between US and China, which are as it is in the low ebb, they will further go down south, and the chances of their improving seemingly looks to be less. Let's see what the Chinese do the next. This is $1 million question.
Okay.
But Americans
General,
are
can I
well
just come
prepared
to you?
and
Can I
guarded
just come to
against
you with a
everything.
follow-up question? Since you are a defense expert, I do want to understand from you. Multiple reports point